Welcome back to the Motivating Force podcast. I'm Josue, this is Justin, and if you've been following along with our videos, this is actually the part 2 of our daily routine series. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to maintain your daily routine for longevity, so then you can keep going with this routine instead of just falling off and not achieving your goals or not feeling good about them. So you want to start off with one of the tips?
Yeah, first tip being make sure you check out Monday's video first, right? Where we talk about redefining your routine, getting into it. Okay, because this part of the series here, we're going to be talking about the maintenance, the longevity, and, a little bit more kind of the boring things, but very important, very critical steps into ensuring that you can stay on top of your routine, continue to make it productive, and just live that structured and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, real quick thing that I wanted to bring up when you just mentioned structured is that's the whole purpose behind this. What I keep using as an example for myself is the military, right? They implement a routine on you repeatedly, over and over and over, every single day. But they do it with a reason. They don't just give you a routine to do just because. They need you to have that structured lifestyle to keep you grounded, to keep you responsible, to have discipline with yourself. And that's the whole goal that I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to bring that message with me and implement that discipline in my life. And hopefully that's why you're striving to make a better daily routine for yourself, because you want to have that discipline as well.
Yeah, and they're also not giving you a different routine to try every day to see which one you like better. They are giving you a routine, you are sticking with it, end of story.
Yep.
So, of course, having a little bit more freedom and not being government property, you have the ability to go out there and try different things with your routine, do things you like, do things you don't like. But overall, you do want to make sure that you are pretty much staying the same path, right?
Yeah.
Keep the same consistency with everything. If you got, 10 things that you want to accomplish every day aside from your responsibilities as a human being, such as showering, brushing your teeth, eating food. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you how to do that, how to put that in your routine. If you need help on that, there's probably different videos and episodes out there for you. But as far as getting out there, getting after it and accomplishing things, you're going to want to stay generally in the same ballpark, right? And the first point that I do want to just reiterate real quick is to definitely start small. So that way, when you inevitably miss some days, you're not going to be beating yourself up over it so bad that you're not going to want to continue with the routine. And some quick numbers to help put it in perspective. This is kind of using that power of the longevity, right? If you gave yourself a New Year's resolution and you have all year to finish it, okay? And your goal was, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. And you're so focused on it. And it's almost like, I want to say more of a cultural thing than a human nature thing. And it might be a human nature thing, so I might be wrong with that. But we want things now.
Yeah.
We always want to do things now.
Well, I think it's now part of our human nature because of culture. Because of how generations have been progressing, now the need, our children's children are going to want things now because everything's just handed to them and it's right then and there.
So we're going to call that an evolutionary thing based off of technology.
Let's coin it that.
Yeah, Alexa, order me pepperoni pizza now.
And then it's going to be at your door in 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Instead of having to get all the groceries and then making a pizza and, in the oven.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's now an evolutionary thing with each generation.
C'est la vie. We want things now. I want to do it now. I want to lose 30 pounds now. And a big part of that, too, is what we see on TV and commercials and things like that. Take this magic pill and it's going to make you lose this weight or gain this muscle or, whatever it's going to do for you. And it's going to happen quick. But main point being, give yourself time. Things take time. It's going to take 28 days to form new habits. And by the grace of God, it takes 66 days on average to break habits.
Right.
So spend that energy to form good habits for yourself. Get through the hardship of the 28 days, and then you're smooth sailing from there. the point to put that in perspective when we talk about that longevity, you want to lose 30 pounds this year, and you're like, I'm going to lose a pound a week, and within 30 weeks, I'm going to be done. So just over half a year. And it's like, well, are you though? Give yourself the full window. And if we really put things into perspective, if you allowed yourself to have one bad day a week, you still have, give or take, 313 days a year. And that's saying every single week I'm guaranteeing myself to have a bad day, which is kind of a good thing, right? You can see that in multiple ways, especially like dieting. We always have one day where we have a big cheat meal.
Yeah.
Because it keeps you in line. So expect to have that bad day, because when you have it, it keeps you in line. You know, whether that day is a Tuesday or a Friday, you know, the day you got a flat tire, that's what it is. It's a bad day. It's going to happen to you. That still leaves you with 313 days that year. So now if you said, I have 313 days this year to lose 30 pounds, I mean, come on, man. That sounds like you could slack off, right?
Yeah.
That gives you a lot of time. So make sure you put things into perspective on your to-do list.
Yeah, and I want to just bring it back to that, keeping it like small goals and keeping things realistic, because the point that I want to drive home to keeping it like a daily routine that's going to be there for the long run. You know, you want to do this every single day. You don't want it to get mundane. You want to find reason behind what you're doing. You want to keep that positive mental attitude, that PMA with what you're doing. And a way to do that is to just be conscious of everything you're doing. Instead of just waking up and being a zombie doing the same routine every day, start focusing and like I said, be conscious of what you're doing and why. You're going to just eventually find your purpose in the little things. I'm not saying that's the purpose of life, but it's going to help you go through your daily routine, go through your week, go through your month, feeling a lot better than just being that zombie doing the same routine all the time. Find your purpose in those little things. It's going to make achieving those goals feel so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true, because and I guess you call it the same thing with the evolution of technology, right? Where we mostly just want to watch perfection. Nobody's going to spend their free time to go online and watch somebody try to do something. We're going to watch somebody do something. So when you're accomplishing these small tasks, it doesn't seem like a big deal. And probably, honestly, because it's not, it is a big deal to you. And it should be. Like the simple example from Monday being, if you don't eat breakfast and you're trying to, and you miss a day, it's okay. But see how much emphasis we put on, like, it's as simple as creating the objective for yourself to eat a meal in the morning. I mean, come on, like what is that, right? That sounds like something you're teaching a 5-year-old to do, but that's kind of the double-edged sword, isn't it? Because as adults, we start to skip these things and move away from these things, and it's like, but we try to create these good habits in our kids, and then when we become an adult, if we miss out on it, or we start skipping it for whatever reason, and it's just like, oh, well, that's such a simple thing. Like, you almost feel embarrassed to say that you're trying to accomplish some of these tasks.
Yeah. Another super easy one that people could do that I didn't even think about it until you just brought that up. Because I've been doing this one for a long time. Humble brag. And that's like preparing your outfit for the next day before you even go to bed. You know, I've seen so many people that have like stressed about, like, what am I going to wear? Like, you wake up and then you're like going through your closet, you're ripping things off the wall. I don't know what my outfit's going to be. You try on 10 different things. I know people can relate. It seems stupid, but I know people can relate. And what I do is I just have the uniform or have like clothes ready that I'm going to wear the next day before I even go to bed. That's the check for the next day already completed the night before.
I like it. Makes sense. And it's true, because it's the small little things that are going to help create efficiency for yourself. So don't skip out on those things, right? Because we want to talk about the longevity, the maintenance here. Here's one of those key factors in that is when you account for these little things that you need to get done, or things you know that take a lot of time for you, and you work on ways to make it a little bit faster, the definition of efficiency, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna really creating that structured timeline for yourself to get through the day, creating that routine, redefining your routine. You are actually opening up more free time and more leisure for yourself. Because once you get everything done with that to-do list, and you truly do get everything done with that to-do list, you get more efficient with it. You find ways to do it better. It's just like what you would do at work, right? And you get all those things done, and next thing you know, you now have 30 minutes of free time, because instead of sitting there and procrastinating on things you needed to do, you got all of it done. And then the next day, say, you got 45 minutes. Reward yourself with that free time that you create. And then maybe later on, when you get a little more ambitious and things need to start moving forward a little faster, then you can utilize that time to your advantage to get more things done. But up front, reward yourself with that time, because that's what's going to help you have that longevity to it.
Well, it's going to reinforce that positive mental attitude towards what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to feel rewarded for having that daily routine. It's not going to be this like structured, like if you're somebody that doesn't like having structure or a timeline, it's going to make you feel like it's worth it. Just keep it simple, right? If you just live your day as it comes and you're fine with that, but now you're trying to make a change in your life and you want it to be like with a meaning behind it, and you want to make sure that you're hitting these goals and this routine for yourself, rewarding yourself with that free time is going to make you go, oh, okay, this is why I'm doing this. I'm like struggling a little bit because you're like kind of shaking the way that you like function a little bit. So it's going to make you feel better. Like you're doing it with a purpose.
Yeah. And the drive home factor from there is definitely make sure to take advantage of that, because life's not as serious as everybody would want to make it. And when you give yourself that opportunity to relax, and especially for accomplishing all these things, to give yourself that opportunity, take it. Because if you're just constantly filling up those little holes all the time with more work for yourself, it's almost going to act as like a punishment to yourself. So that's going to burn you out really fast. And obviously you don't want to do that. But then when you're ready to take that next step forward, do it, because I feel like for people who think that they don't have a routine to begin with, you're going to find yourself with a lot of free time when you start getting good at a routine.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like I've mentioned with myself, for the people that don't think that they have a routine and realizing that they do, and once they start reevaluating it, they're going to start seeing that they have a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to eliminate. Because if you get rid of all those bad habits, that's when you're going to see the benefits of having this free time. That's when you're going to see the benefits of finding the purpose behind what you're doing. And that's when you're going to be able to fill in that extra time with like productivity. It's going to have a positive effect in your life. You're going to have structure to be the best that you can be. And that's what we strive to accomplish here at the Motivating Force podcast.
Definitely. And I know we kind of hit key points on that before when we talked about how we freed up time and what we're doing here, and making that efficiency from it just to be able to produce more content for you guys, which is why we're now here on Sundays for everybody, giving you guys a little something every week, extra. But we've gotten to that point where, okay, that little bit of free time up front, great, take a break. But if you have 6 hours of free time a day, you might have too much free time.
I mean, I think that's a long time. But like we were saying with how you would just spend that same amount of time, gaming. People could start a Twitch channel. If that's really what you want to do with that free time that you have for yourself, don't look at it as just like relaxation or just fooling around. Think of what you can do with that time to like create something, start a new habit for yourself, something that you were interested in and you didn't have the time for before. Start looking into it. If you want to like build RC cars and go outside and race them down the street, do that, because that's going to help you feel better about having a new habit in general. It's good to like start writing. I know you were saying that you wanted to start writing again.
Yeah.
So when we have this routine and we're achieving these goals and then we have that free time at the end of the day, that's when you can use that for writing.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to cram it into your day when you're at work or when you're on break. If you want to start fishing on your day off, get everything done before you even start that day off that you have for yourself. And then you go out, spend the day fishing. It could be a Twitch channel like I was mentioning before. It can kind of bring you a couple extra dollars a month. Who knows? You can be the next Ninja or Dr. Disrespect.
No, that's a great point. And that's when you make those routines for yourself and those to-do lists or however you want to go about it, it's strategically implementing those rewards into that to-do list. That's what's going to help keep you going for a long time. Because for me, like, reading is kind of the more of the chore, but writing in my case personally, like, I've been writing for forever since I was like
in middle school.
Since I learned how to write, So for me, writing is kind of the reward.
Okay.
But there's an old adage where they say for authors and people who write, they say, if you want to be a good writer, you need to read twice as much as you write.
Correct.
So with the reading being the hard part, I reward myself with that part of the to-do list to write. So every time I'm like, okay, when I read through a full book, I'll go through and, maybe I'll write a couple short stories or something before I go on to the next book that I'm going to read. So it's kind of creating that balance with, intentionally giving myself rewards, intentionally giving myself leisure within my schedule instead of just kind of like waiting for it to happen in a sense.
Yeah, and I like that you're bringing up your New Year's resolution, because I'm doing the same thing where I'm kind of implementing this new habit in my routine, and I'm trying to make it the most time efficient as possible by doing the runs and listening to that Audible book that I was telling you guys about. And I already knocked the one out for the month.
Congratulations.
No big deal. But I like that I'm able to go for the run and listen to the book instead of just listening to music or just getting lost in my thoughts, because then it starts helping me like forget about the pain of, my legs killing me. But I'm able to think about like what the book's talking about and then like start getting into this world. And I was just reading The Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino. Highly recommend that book. It's pretty short. It's good message behind it. But like putting myself in that timeline where it's like the age of I want to say the birth of Jesus, it kind of correlates, but it's not a religious book. I really like that too. And it goes full circle. And it's like, that's the little reward that I can get, is like forgetting about the pain while I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm saving the time so I don't have to waste an hour or two at night reading a book. So if you create that path or that routine for yourself, that, from my example, I get out of work, I go for the run, I knock out 2 goals at the same time, running and listening to the book. Then I come home, shower, cook, and then I have some free time, that I can just watch TV or I can, work on the podcast. So,
yeah. And I was going to say too, with doing all that extra running, I mean, one of your rewards, I'm sure it's got to be adding a couple extra comfy calories to your diet. Or are you staying pretty much the same?
Like adding food? Hell no, dude. I've been taking food away. Are you kidding me? Yeah,
Okay.
No, that's the whole point. Like I've been trying to eat healthier.
I mean, if I was doubling my run time, I might make room for some ice cream.
No. I mean, most people, but, I'm kind of already in that habit of working out pretty heavily. I don't want to overdo that. So what has been slacking was the actual gym time, because I'm spending more time outside running. I can't spend the hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym. So it's like I'm cramming in that time, but running more. But either way, I'm keeping that like PMA, that positive mental attitude, because I'm outside, I'm getting fresh air. I'm able to appreciate the little things in the run. And that's what I'm trying to say, is I'm looking forward to the runs now. Whereas before I was like, I don't want to go outside and run a mile or 2 miles, whatever it was that I was running before. Now it's like, okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't need to be stuck in an AC, like a building with AC. I can go outside, enjoy nature a little bit, get some fresh air, and everybody needs that nowadays. We've all been stuck in buildings. We've all been stuck at home this whole quarantine. So it feels nice being outside again, having that sun hit you, which everybody needs that vitamin D.
Yeah.
So
that's great, man. And I think that really the point to kind of take home from that is, as we talk about creating that efficiency, is, you could have very easily planned it to where you said you had 2 New Year's resolutions, and you could have been like, okay, well, let's space this out, because that kind of makes like logical sense, right? So you'd be like, okay, well, one day we'll run the 4 miles, the next day we'll read a book, the next day we'll run 4 miles, the next day we'll read a book. And it was like, well, though we put a little bit of thought into it, we can put that together real easily. We'll listen to an audiobook, and what are we going to do while we listen to it? We're going to do our run.
Yep.
And now you're just accomplishing your task faster. So really, if you take that extra time, put it for your first week where on your routine that you're going to spend time on your routine. Don't just give yourself 5 minutes to quickly jot down everything you need to do tomorrow. Spend some time with it. Really put some logistical planning into it, because the more time you put into doing that, the more time you're going to allow yourself to just open up and have more free time, because you're able to plan it better. You're able to kind of push things together, mix things together, do them at the opportune moments. And the next thing you know, you've done, you created an extra hour of free time for yourself. It's amazing how that can work for you when you really start evaluating what you have to do for, your day by day living.
Yeah. Dedicating time to make that routine is important.
Yeah, because if you look at the routine, the creation of the routine as a task to begin with, all you're going to do is fill it up with tasks.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Spend time on it, because when you do, you're going to have fun with that routine. You're going to put things in there. You're going to be in that right headspace to add in that free time, Yeah,
and don't overlook things either. If you're sitting there going, shower's a stupid thing to write down, because I'm clearly going to shower, write it down anyway, because having that extra check mark is going to make you feel a lot better.
Yeah, it's like the free slot on the bingo card. You always feel great. Don't stamp.
1.
Done.
Yeah. So having that, the stupid goals that you're thinking that they aren't goals, write them down anyway. Actually go through what you're going to do for the day. Getting gas, if you do that every Friday, write that down. Grab your keys and your sunglasses, because you're going out in the daytime every day. There's days that I've left the house without my sunglasses, and heading back home, I'm like, this sucks, the sun's in my eyes. So it's you might overlook those things if you don't write them down.
Yeah.
So if you take the time every day or every week to go over that list and create the list for yourself, write down those little things that you think you're going to forget.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It reminds me before when we talked about all the little achievements that you get from video games, right? You talk about that dopamine release and how they play on you with that, because you think it's dumb. And when you're playing a video game, they're like, you walked 5 steps, achievement. And you're like, well, that's stupid. But inside, you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
And it's do the same thing for yourself, because maybe in your head, you're going to be like, well, that's stupid. I got to mark off I took a shower. But then when you mark it off inside, you're still like, yeah. Play with those rewards.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, the whole point behind my message that I want people to take from this is to find their purpose in those little things. You're going to feel so much better. The PMA that you're going to find with all these little things is going to help reinforce the drive behind keeping this routine for a longer period of time.
Yeah, man. When you put yourself in the right mindset for it, you will enjoy it. You will. Just give it the chance.
Yeah, it's going to feel so much better than creating this routine and then just it falling into that rut again that you were talking about. Having it that mundane and super boring path that you're going about your life. You need to find a purpose, and this is the easiest way to do it. Find them in the little things, the little goals that you set for yourself.
And when we're finding little goals that you can set for yourself and that you can accomplish, is on your to-do list, make sure you put on there that you're gonna hit the like button for this video. Make sure, if you haven't already marked it off your list to subscribe to the channel, that you go ahead and do that now. Get it done. Mark it off your list. Just subscribe right now.
And if that's too easy and you think that's already done, then what you can do is you can share this with friends and family. Tell them about the page, how you feel about it, if we're helping you guys out. If you find us to be a little bit annoying, write it down in the comments. We'll interact.
Yeah. And you can always interact with us as well on our social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on Parler. We're on Instagram. Check those links down below.
Until our next video, Monday and Wednesday, go and get.